Okay, I don't think that Tua should be allowed to be doing press conferences anymore. And I know he just had a good game. Congratulations, Tua. He did really great against the Falcons. That's awesome. That being said, I want to talk a little bit about what led up to this previous game and why he should not be allowed to have press conferences anymore. Tua had a press conference last week after a second consecutive game of throwing 3 picks. And he, in that press conference, blamed his teammates. He said that they weren't showing up on time. They weren't to team meetings. They weren't showing up at all sometimes. And he threw them all under the bus. And then he followed it up by having another press conference where he said that he needed to clarify things to his teammates because his words were misconstrued by the media, and blamed the media then for his own words that his teammates probably had a problem with. And then after that, at a press conference, Tua was asked why he didn't throw to Jalen Waddle very much in a game where he threw 3 picks. And he, rather than take accountability for playing really poorly, he said, I can't blame my teammates again because they were mad at me last time. So he decided to take another step in a different direction, one that I didn't think he would go. And he blamed God. He said, you know what? God made me short. I can't see over these linemen. What do you want me to do? Throw it blind? Which, why would you ever say that you're too short to be able to throw the ball and be a quarterback? Because now, when the Dolphins inevitably move on from you, no other team, what other team would want you? You said you can't see over your linemen, you can't throw the ball. Oh, I'd have to throw it blind to throw it to my receivers. Why would you ever say that? That's so dumb. This guy should not be allowed to have any access to any media days or have any interviews. It just shouldn't be allowed. And by the way, Tua is 6'1", and that is the same height as Jalen Hurts, Baker Mayfield, Caleb Williams, and two of those three are very good quarterbacks, and they never complain about height, and you never see them complain. You know that I didn't think that Jalen Hurts was the same height as him, but you knew that Baker Mayfield was not a super tall guy, and he never has problems. He is one of the MVP frontrunners this year. Jalen Hurts has been in the conversation for MVP before he got injured a few years back, and obviously he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. They are not using that as an issue. And you know who else? You know who else was a short quarterback? Drew freaking Brees, and he was 6 foot, not 6'1", so he was officially 1 inch shorter than Tua, and he was known for trying to peek over his linemen. He did this all the time, where you saw him on his tiptoes behind the line of scrimmage, trying to peek over his linemen to throw the ball, and he's one of the greatest quarterbacks statistically of all time. I mean, look at this. Look on the left. Drew Brees is trying to peek over his lineman. On the right, you can see he's on his tiptoes. This was very common for him, on his tiptoes, trying to peek over his lineman. He was definitely shorter than his lineman, and it was pretty consistent in interviews from his wide receivers. They would say, you couldn't see Drew Brees, the ball would just come flying at your face. It would just come flying right at you. So you had to be ready at all times because you didn't know when you were going to be getting it because he was short enough. So if Drew Brees didn't have a problem with this, and he was one of the greatest quarterbacks statistically of all time, a Super Bowl winning quarterback, I believe an MVP winning quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks, has one of the most passing touchdowns